334.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Peace, King. Black
okay,
supremacy.
my phone was been tripping. Black supremacy. Yeah, I was glad you did this show, man. It's a very, very excellent topic to stimulate a lot of thought on. And I had to chime in on it because I didn't exhaust my content. I'm hearing an echo. I didn't exhaust what I had to say on the Kanye West matter. I really only exposed one dimension of it. But I think it's the trick of the English language that's enslaving people with what he's saying. Because for one, if you're a slave, that denotes that you're in a position that you have no choice. So I mean, it's a trick in the language. As soon as you choose, you are no longer a slave. As soon as you choose, that's it. It's over with. Slave is not choosing at all. You follow what I'm saying? As soon as you choose and make a decision based upon your own will, you are no longer a slave. So that cancels out slavery. So to say you choose to be a slave is really a conundrum of the language. Now, secondly, you have to ask: are we choosing to be a slave individually, or are we choosing to be a slave based on a collective? Because if freedom is collective and nationalistic, then that means the choice of the whole affects the individual. So no matter what choice you make as an individual, if the consciousness of the whole has not been expanded to a particular point, then you're still subject to the treatment and to the situation that the whole exists in simultaneously. Thus, we have racial profiling, meaning you may choose a different, you may have a certain perception of yourself, but as due to how black people are dealt with as a whole, you fall victim, consequence of being a melanated person. You see the point I'm making? So that means that the choice of the collective affects your choice as an individual. You can choose to be free any day you want to, but as long as you're black, you are still connected to the collective consciousness of the entirety of the race. So that means the choice isn't individual, it's a collective choice. Now, it's a question of is it an individual or is it as a collective choice. Now, when he said it's a lot of y'all, he's saying now it's a collective choice. So then now that means that my freedom is dependent on the y'all. So if the y'all are not ready to wake up, then it doesn't matter what my choice is as an individual, that I'm still going to be a slave, because that means I have to affect y'all to be free. Now, these are his exact words. He said it was a lot of y'all. That to me, that's collective. So is freedom an individual choice, or is it a collective choice? And if it's a collective choice, who is he talking to when he says it was a lot of y'all? Is he saying himself? Is he in the y'all? Because now it sounds like he's not a part of the black race. It sounds like he's speaking as some entity that's not black anymore. And then when you look at that, you look at where he's coming from as far as, I just want to look at it as just mental illness or an imbalance inside of his consciousness. It's a lot of ways I want to look at that. But when he starts to big up Candace Owens, saying that she's a profound thinker and he wish he could think like Candace Owens, that means he's leaning towards the right. He's leaning towards the alt-right. He's leaning towards the conservatives. Even though he says he has no political views or no political positions, clearly if he agrees with Candace Owens, which is definitely a person that represents the right, the alt-right, philosophically and politically, then he's taking a political position and his supporting of Donald Trump. And okay, he just loves Trump. It doesn't have nothing to do with politics. He doesn't support Trump's views. He just loves Trump's, right? He just loves Donald Trump. But when you go and throw Candace Owens in there, now you support the right. I can even accept, okay, all rappers like Trump. Trump was just a cool guy with a lot of money. We all liked Trump before he became president. Well, I can accept that. But then when you say you agree with Candace Owens, now you're the them. You're not the us anymore. Now you're siding with them. So now you speaking as them, telling us that it's a lot of y'all. Do you see the point I'm making? He's not speaking as a black person, because he should have said it's a lot of us. Am I correct? If he's saying, slavery is a choice, it was a lot of y'all. Do you mean it was a lot of us? And if slavery, if freedom is a collective decision, then his position is anti-freedom for black people. Then he represents the part of the collective that don't want to be free. So that means we as individuals can't be free to people like Kanye West specifically wake up. because he's making the choice to be a slave by being a part of the them versus the us and to represent the them versus the us. You see where I'm going with it? So he himself is a part of a problem that he's presenting. He's the reason that we cannot make the collective choice to be free. Why, as individuals, we all could be free. We all can leave the country and go up into the mountains somewhere and just leave society and experience some type of freedom far away from America. But in order for us to be free as a collective, you follow what I'm saying? Then we would have to be unified. Yeah. That means the individual freedom is connected into the collective freedom. And that means that it's not about the choice of the individual. It's about the consciousness of the collective. It's about in America we talk about democracy, that it's a country that's set up by the majority. But then when we talk about freedom, then now it's an individual choice. It's your choice as a person of how you want to be brutalized within the society. But that takes me to another point, is that if it's about the us versus the them, and he's already made it y'all, not me, then you got to ask, why is it that he's choosing to continue to be a slave? And why are other people making that choice? Why is the collective consciousness thought for black people slavery? Why are they more comfortable with that? Why is he continuing to play a role in that? And this is the main point. If we have to be free, then if he's going to tell us that freedom is a choice, and let's just look at it. Let's just say it was individual freedom. I already broke down the collective piece. Let's just say it was individual freedom, and Kanye was just saying that freedom is a choice because America pushes the independent thing to denationalize black people so that we are not nationalistic, and it's just all about individual freedom and personal wealth and personal success. But just say that freedom was an individual choice, just hypothetically. Let's think along his lines. He don't mean the collective. He just means the individual. Wouldn't he have to be an exemplification of choosing to be free in order to show us that that's something real? Because, I mean, we can intellectualize on the radio all day long about the choice to be freedom. I mean, the choice to be free. But wouldn't it take someone who chose to be free and to come back and exemplify that, like Harriet Tubman? Like, to tell us that is something real, then that would have to be a choice that he made, or otherwise he's just kind of philosophizing. He's just kind of intellectually masturbating. Where are the black people that chose to be free? Does he represent them? Is he demonstrating that in a way where that's something that we can accept as a reality? If he chose to be free, clearly he can. It makes sense. We can look at him and say, okay, you made the choice to be free. Well, you're free. But if he have not made the choice to be free, then his statements is very empty. That's like telling me that you can choose to fly. But if you're not flying, how can I take your statement serious? If you're the one that's bringing this ideology. Where do we see freedom in any choices that he made when he's on pharmaceutical medications? He admits that he's a slave to the music industry. He cried because the fashion industry wouldn't appeal to him like they wanted to. He admitted that he's a slave to the media. Suction, he wants validation. He's a slave to what the media thinks about him. He admits that he's a slave in so many ways throughout the entirety of his career. He cries out victim whenever it's comfortable, right? Bush don't even care about blacks. That's a collective statement that we still need white people to care about us because we're not free, right? So if he's not free, how can he tell us that it's our choice to be free? If he has not experienced that choice, if he's not really walked into what that choice looks and feels like. And I think it was so timely that you was playing Jason Black at the beginning of the show because blacks are scared of freedom, to really step away from white supremacy and step outside of the matrix of what that looks like. But people who ain't did it and are not willing to do it can't beat up those that haven't. They can't disqualify and say that those fears are unrealistic, or, you know what I'm saying? Or, they can't, until they're willing to make that step and move into freedom. It's no way they can point to everybody and say, well, why you ain't stepped off into freedom? Why you ain't did it yet? Because if that's the case, then they're asking us to be irrational. They're asking those who have not jumped into freedom to be irrational. Those who have not jumped into that choice, because they're pretending as though that their concerns are not rational. What is going to happen to me after I make the choice to be absolutely free? Is that a rational concern, that after I jump into complete and absolute freedom, what's going to happen? Oh, then they'll go and throw in, give me liberty or give me death, right? Which is a profound statement. But that's not a choice, because if you would choose to be free, you would choose to be free in this life. And if it's a multiple choice between death and freedom, then that's a limited choice. Life is not a multiple, a two answer, two option multiple choice. That's not freedom. You know what I'm saying? That's like Russian roulette, and you got two shots, and it's a bullet in one chamber and there's no bullet in the other. That ain't freedom, and you're going to have to use this gun.
Right.
You got to use this gun. You don't have no choice. It's what you can choose. You follow? That's what they're saying. So it's like, if you really have no real, you're really not looking at your real options from an intellectual perspective. That's more emotional. You know what I'm saying? That's a more emotional framework to say, well, I'd rather be dead. Give me freedom or give me death. No, the intellectual person is going to say, give me all of the in-between. Do you follow what I'm saying? Give me a realm where I can have control, man. Give me unlimited options. Give me infinite possibility. Give me a lot of space where I can maneuver in order to construct things into my ultimate design of the way I want them to be. Don't give me no freedom or no death. That means it's saying if I'm not going to conform to the white man right now, I need to die right now. To me, that's not a rational. That's not rational. Freedom would say, if you're free to construct what you really want to experience and manifest in this very life. That comes with freedom. The freedom to construct what you desire. Death or slavery is not a choice to me. Do you understand what I'm making?
Okay.
That's there anyway. I feel that. You don't have to choose that. If you're not going to be a slave, you're going to confront death. To me, the choice would be how we're going to create how we're going to define and manifest freedom for ourselves in this very life. That, to me, is the real question. We already know that we I don't think that what's his name, Oscar Grant or Trayvon Martin really had the choice of freedom or death, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that political prisoners is being executed like Tukey Williams, you know what I'm saying, had the option of freedom or death. I think was it really a choice for him, freedom or death? So when people try to use that you're teaching, and we're already in there. You know what I'm saying? We're already in there. Try not to be in here if you want. So to me, it's not an option of freedom. When people try to use that, give me liberty or give me death, it's kind of like it's accepting that you don't have a choice. To me, it's the lack of of assessing all of the options. That means that your consciousness is not broad enough to perceive all the options, and that the pressure of the way things appear will force you to do something that would be, you know what I'm saying? You'll be forced to make a decision. But once you have an expanded consciousness, now you live in a realm where infinite possibilities is being thrown at you by the second, which puts you in a position to construct freedom for yourself. So the death thing, all that we should have just died versus, you know what I'm saying, been slaves. This is what they would have to be saying. That, man, we didn't have to be slaves right now. We should just been dead. That's like so ignorant to me. Because who has come back from the dead to say that's a good option? Who has come back from the dead to say that was a better option than trying to construct something here? That being impulsively pushed into death was a better option than taking time to mold the collective to a type of awakening that can construct the type of freedom that we want on the earth right now. You see where I'm going with that? So while they plunge into death as an immediate solution and being totally disgusted with slavery, they overlook the option of having the endurance and having the ability to withstand whatever's necessary to develop oneself into the God of whom they truly are in order to be able to construct their idea of freedom on this particular plane. because that's why we came here. We didn't come here to die. We came here to construct our ultimate and divine reality here, just like the devil is doing every day. Just like the white man, when you go to his downtown Las Vegas and downtown Los Angeles and downtown anywhere in the United States, you see he's constructed his ultimate reality, hasn't he? It wasn't a question of him freedom or death. It was a question of how do I construct my ultimate reality. Whenever you look at Trump Tower, you didn't look at freedom or death. You looked at how do I construct my own highest version of reality that I want to live in. That's what you see when you see Trump Tower. But when it comes to a black person, it's freedom and death. It's freedom or death. We don't give ourselves a lot of room to design the reality that we want because we are overly bombarded with enslavement. We're overly bombarded with our own oppression. You follow? That forces us to make very impulsive and very drastic and desperate decisions, which is what the Matrix wants you to do, which is why we can only conceptualize success as being a part of his reality. Because if you're not a part of his reality, you have so much time on your hands and so much space that you have no definition of success. So he's pressuring you into his Matrix to say, now I'm doing something, you know, now I have a job, now I'm part of his reality, because you're pressured. Either you're dealing with being a slave or being somebody that's nobody or that's worthless to somebody who can be validated by his reality. Do you see where I'm going? So we, as black people, we live in a very pressured space. We're very pressured as to liberty or death. You either you're nothing or you got success. You feel me? It's just like it's too flip a coin for us. We gotta I'm saying we have to throw away duality. We have to throw away that pressure that's put on us and expand our consciousness to become aware of our unlimited options. It's like when you go to court and you're in court, they tell you like you got these two options, and these two options are supposed to speed the process along. You know, either you're gonna make this deal and you're gonna get probation, this, that, and the other, or it's gonna go to trial. You follow? It's like just two options. Yeah. Like there ain't 100 other ones. Like there ain't a million other options. So if you telling me that it was either liberty or death, you telling me how limited your consciousness is. It's that those were our only options. And I want to tell people who are saying that, who are saying because we didn't choose death as an impulsive solution, as for immediate gratification, because we didn't choose death, that we're choosing the other option. Like that many of us right now are living in the other option. Some people jumped over the boat, you feel me? And some people chose to be a slave. But then I'm telling you there's a whole nother option that other people are living right now. Because the whole death thing is selfish to me. Give me liberty or give me death is a selfish notion. Because first of all, if freedom is for the collective, then my death is for the collective. It's not for my own personal disgust with slavery. It's based on my compassion that I have for the masses of black people. So those slaves that jumped off the boat didn't fight for the masses or the future generations of black people who are manifested, who are here today. What if they had stuck around and fought a little harder just to progress us a little further so that future generations would have been free? You see where I'm going with this? If they had but they just chose to jump off the boat because those are the only options that they felt like they had. That's going on with us today now. A lot of people are making that same decision, either death or slavery, throwing their life away, one way or the other, by totally plunging into the Matrix or totally dying out of the Matrix. They're not taking advantage of the other multiple options that exist in us constructing our own reality. That's what black supremacists are doing. We are opening up and tapping those unlimited options for how we're definitively going to manifest our reality. Because if you will to be free, it has to show up for you. Your willpower is the strongest thing that you possess. And we have to make sure we're igniting our will and not being trapped by our own egos. Our will allow us to push through these types of situations, that the situation of slavery. Our ego will make us self-destruct right now. Do you follow? So what Kanye West was talking about is oh yeah, well you just had a choice. Yeah, he only had two choices in his mind: death or bow down to the white man. And he showed you which one he chose. Many of us got 100,000 options that some of them wouldn't even be willing to look at for a second. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not been presented to them. Those options have not been. Those options are not popular options. They're not on the mainstream. You follow? And that's what the dude was saying on the TMZ van when he spoke. He said it's a lot of black people that are doing stuff for black people, but they're not getting the publicity. They're not getting the media attention that they need to get. This is the problem with that he's on the show, and he's on that show, and his job with TMZ, he's not making sure that his job to make sure those other black people get the media and get the attention that they get, right? He's not using his job for that, so he's just as bad as Kanye West. We know a choice that he's made, even though he's arguing with Kanye West. His very exemplification shows his inability or unwillingness to do anything, you know, in regards to even the thing of which he speak on. My whole point in saying all this is that if it's a collective choice, it's not about the individual. It's about the collective. And as long as our people are slaves, we are still slaves no matter how free we think we are as individuals. As individuals, we are already free. Just like he said, you could jump off that boat. You can leave this country and just go somewhere else where they just don't hate black people as much. There's some places you can go. I've actually done some research where there's some places where there's nobody there, like remote islands and shit where nobody's at. I'm sure you're not going to experience no slavery there. But as long as you acknowledge yourself as being black and you're connected to your people, you're going to choose even temporary enslavement, temporary interface with white supremacy for the purpose of liberating the masses of your people. Do you follow?
Yes.
Because if you understand freedom to be a collective idea, if you are a nationalist and you care about your people as a whole, then you're going to fight on behalf of your people. That's what nationalism is about. That'd be like if Mandela just left South Africa during the apartheid because he chose freedom as an individual. But yet the South Africans are not free until all the South Africans are free. And if we're waiting on all of South Africans to be free, how is that just my individual choice to make all South Africans free overnight? That's not even logical. Then there must be some process there. And if there's some process involved, that means that it's not liberty or death right now. It's not, let me go ahead and be a media Illuminati whore or kill myself. You know what I'm saying? Because this is really what they're throwing at you on the subconscious level. They're saying either you, because that's what he's showing. He's talking about you have a choice, but what he's exemplifying is, well, I made the choice. I chose to be an Illuminati whore, a media whore. I chose to be an Illuminati MK Ultra mind control slave. That's what I chose. Because either that, it was going to be death. Because you got to show me one black person that chose freedom. Every choice, everything got statistics. Ain't nothing 100%. Even if 100% of the people make a certain choice, it got to be 1% that didn't. It got to be some deviation from the norm, right? So show me where's the one person that made the choice to be free in America? And if he gets in his car, is he going to get pulled over for being black? You feel me? Is he going to get racially profiled? Is he going to get choked out at the Waffle House? Show me the one black person that can individually choose to be free and not experience the enslavement of the entirety of the race in America, man. Show me one. You follow? No matter how free we think we get as an individual, how much money we get, how much status we get, still be subject to the political condition of our people as a whole until we can change that condition. And if we opt out because we want death because of our own personal situation, because we see our personal situation as being more important than the collective, as individuals, we more important than the whole, and we choose death because we can't change the whole quick enough. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's surrender. You know what I'm saying? That's surrender. Because I can't change the whole overnight. Let me go ahead and die right now. I mean, that's surrender. That's disorganization. You know what I'm saying? That is disunity. That is, you know what I'm saying? Man, I can't. It's so many words that I can add to that. But that's just how I wanted to. I want to exhaust the subject, man. I want to really touch on that, man. I'm signing out. Thank you for having me on Black Supremacy.
Black Supremacy. Black Supremacy. Yeah, I feel that surrender by suicide, and then Kanye West was looking at himself as something outside of black because he was talking about his daughter and how the teacher told his daughter that she was black, and then he's like, well, I thought she was free. So when he made that statement, I was like, oh, okay. He thinks he's not black anymore.
If you chose freedom, you can't get out of being black in this country. So until we free the whole, I don't care what choice you make as an individual. It's a collective thing. We have to raise the consciousness of the masses of our people, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're so egotistical that you don't want to work through that process, you're going to end up choosing death by default. Either death of your soul to the Illuminati or death of your actual life by just being so mad and angry at the condition of black people that you do some suicidal, you know what I'm saying, behavior that won't be constructive or won't be contributing to the liberation of the black people as a whole. And that's what they're pushing you to by saying that. It's a choice. Because some people are going to jump off of that and say, well, it's a choice. And they're going to just run out there and say, well, I choose different. Like, work don't have to go in. If you choose to have a garden, it's going to be a process to plant the seeds and turn over the soil. You don't say, well, since I don't have a garden, it's a choice, and throw yourself in the dirt. I mean, it's like, it's just not even logical, man. He's actually spreading his psychotic, impulsive type decision making. Like, he's spreading that now to everybody. Like, take this, it's a choice. So now some people are gonna be like they're just gonna do erratic shit. Talking about, like, you know, it's a choice. I could choose not to go to court tomorrow, even though it's a small ass charge or some shit, or, you know, I could choose not. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's just dumb. Like, you should know, you don't become impulsive at one moment. You should commit to being able to be a consistent contribution to the transformation of your people as a whole. It's a commitment, man. Freedom is a marriage. You know what I'm saying? That you choose to be diligent and consistent in commitment to gradual transformation. Everything in the universe is gradual. People act like because we wasn't free last week that, you know, something wrong with that. Everything's gradual. But what they tend to realize is that white supremacy in America is the youngest empire that has ever existed so far. This is the youngest, you know, run that they've ever had, and it already looks like it's coming to an end, if you ask me. So just because you're not free, you don't have the perception of being free due to the social political climate, doesn't mean that things are not changing gradually at a gradual and rapid rate. It's not sell your soul or die right now. That's just not what time it is. It's not that desperate of a situation. Everything is gradual, and if we continuously building gradually and consistently, we'll make progress and we'll have breakthroughs, and it'll be built on a strong foundation. It won't just be some, you know, just impulsive, erratic, you know, reaction, that a fire that can really be put out overnight. Actually, just as quickly as they can start that fire, they can put that fire out. But those of us that are dedicated and diligent and devoted, we will gain the gradual grounds and gradual change that we want to see in this country and in the world as a whole.
No doubt. And black supremacy is the only answer. You got to see yourself as supreme. You got to go towards that supreme state. You know, if you're fighting for equality and all that stuff like that, you're not gonna get people that are fighting for equality are going to only be equal on the day of judgment. So that's what it is, man. Black supremacy.